Hello children of St. John's! I am making this video to say hello because I haven't spoken to you since July, which is 6 weeks ago, and it's been ages since I've seen some of you. I haven't seen some of you since March. So I thought I'd make a video so that you will feel a little bit less anxious about coming back to school. I bet some of you are thinking, I don't want to go. I can't remember how to do school. I know my children are, and I am a little bit too. So I thought if I made this video to talk to you about what to expect when you come back, it might help you to feel a little bit better about it. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to talk to you about what's the same, because actually, I know it feels like loads of things have changed in the world, but lots of things have stayed the same. So let's talk about what's going to be the same at St. John's, because then you'll think, oh, I know all about that already, so that's okay. So the first thing that's going to be the same is what we are like. And by that I mean, what's our school code? Our school code is treat other people the way you want to be treated. It's the golden rule. It's the rule we all live by at school, and it's what makes our school a special and nice place to be. And that's not going to change. That's our number one rule. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. And that's how it's going to be. Second thing that's going to stay the same are the amazing teachers and the lovely teaching assistants. We're all coming back together. All of us will be here, and we can't wait to see you. That's every single one of you. And do you remember I always say in assembly, it's good to be you. You don't need to pretend to be somebody else. You don't need to pretend to be someone that you think is cool or that's good or that's, really well behaved. You come and be you, and we will love you for it. So all of those teachers that you already know and all of those teaching assistants, they are here ready for you. That's the same as before. Third thing that is the same. We're going to look the same. We're going to wear the same school uniform. Hopefully you've managed to get your hands on the school uniform. I do know, because I'm a mum, that at the moment it's quite tricky to get your hands on some school uniform because everybody's buying it and everybody seems to want the same thing. But if you haven't managed to get something, tell your mum or your dad or your nan or whoever looks after you to ring school up and just let us know, because that way we won't moan at you about it. So we hopefully you'll all come back looking super smart and super St. John's. Next thing that's the same, lessons. The thing we all love the most, learning. So our lessons are going to be the same. You might find your classroom looks a little bit different, which we'll talk about later on, because we might not be sitting in groups anymore. But the lessons are going to be the same. The teacher is going to explain something and you're going to have a go at it. And all of our exciting topics, we're going to do them. It's going to be the same. You're not going to walk in and have a test. If that's what you're worried about, stop worrying, because that's not going to happen. It's our job to help you learn. If you're thinking, I've forgotten everything they've ever taught me, I can't even remember how to write properly because you haven't written with a pen for such a long time, stop worrying. It doesn't matter. It will come back to you, and it's our job to help you. So relax. It's going to come back to you. Next thing that's the same, the building. The building looks the same. It will have the same lovely displays. It will have the same fabulous playgrounds. We're going to still have playtime. We will still have a lunch break. You will still be in a room with nice things on the wall. So don't worry about what it's going to look like in school. It's going to look the same. Okay? I hope that's made you feel a little bit better about some of the things you might be worrying about. In a minute, I'm going to talk about some of the things that are different. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that are different. Some things are really different and some things are just a titchy bit different. But if I tell you about them, then you'll know what to expect. And when we know what to expect, we don't worry so much. and I don't want you to worry. So, first difference is some children will be starting school at 8:45 and other children will be starting school at 8:55. And it's really important that you know which time you're starting at and you are on time. Because the reason we've done this is so that we don't have lots of people arriving all at the same time. This is especially important for the grown-ups. So for the teachers, the teaching assistants, but also for your mums and dads, nans and granddads, whoever brings you. We don't want them being squashed into a space with lots of other grown-ups because we want to keep them safe. And you've probably heard on the news and in the shops, people talking about socially distancing. And that means keeping a good distance between you and another person. And it's really important that grown-ups do that. So some children start at 8:45 and others start at 8:55. And that means we halve the number of grown-ups around the building at the same time. So please be on time. Second thing is hand sanitizers. Wow, there's hand sanitizer everywhere. When you arrive at school, whichever door you come in, and we'll talk about that in a minute, you will find a hand sanitizer station. And it's one of those magical ones where you just put your hands underneath and it squirts it into your hand. This is going to be tricky if your hand is full of lots of things. So we don't want you to bring much to school at all. We'll talk about what we do want you to bring in a little while, but we don't want you to bring very much. And we want you to be able to put your hand underneath and properly make sure you get it all over your hands, the backs of your hands, and don't forget those in between your fingers as well. So you sanitize your hands and then you come put away your reading bag, your water bottle, which we'll talk about in a minute, and your coat, and then you sit down in your place. And after that, your teacher will send you to wash your hands. But because there might be a bit of a queue for hand washing, we want you to sanitize your hands on the way in. That's the same for any grown-ups that come in the building too. So anybody that comes into our school will sanitize their hands. I'm going to warn you, our hand sanitizer is quite runny. So when you put your hands underneath, you get quite a lot of runny stuff in your hands. So you probably want to make sure you hold your hand out flat, maybe make a little cup with your hand, and then you can get it all over. Otherwise you end up dripping it all over yourself. So you'll sanitize your hands when you arrive, and after that you'll be sent to wash your hands to make sure there's no germs coming into school. Because if you haven't got any germs and the other people haven't got any germs, then we're all safe, aren't we? Next difference is you might see a grown-up wearing a mask. You might see mums and dads, nans and granddads wearing masks. You might see teachers, you might see me. We might be wearing a mask. We might have a visor on as well. That's nothing to worry about. You've probably seen people wearing them. There's lots of people in Spark Hill Park wearing them. Don't forget, if your grown-up is wearing a mask, make sure they're doing it properly. They need to cover their nose as well as their mouth, because otherwise you breathe in the germs and you breathe out the germs. And sometimes you see people with masks on like that. That doesn't help them. So make sure you're keeping them safe by telling them to cover their nose and their mouth. If you see a teacher wearing a mask, it doesn't mean they're poorly. If they were poorly, they would be at home. It doesn't mean they're looking after somebody that's poorly. It might just mean that they're worried about somebody they live with catching coronavirus from them, and so they're keeping themselves safe by wearing a mask. So don't worry about it if you see them wearing one. It's fine. Next difference is a great one. There will not be as many children in the playground at once. So we're still going to have playtime. We're still going to have lunchtime play, but there will only be one year group in each playground. So at playtime, if year 1 and year 2 go out to play at the same time, they won't be in the same playground. Year 1 will have one playground and year 2 will have the other one. So you'll have loads of extra space to run around in. Great news for you. The reason for that is it helps you to stay a little bit distanced from people if you've got more room. And don't forget, if you're distanced from people, it's harder to catch germs, so that's a good thing. But also, all schools have been told to do something called putting children into bubbles. And being in a bubble at St. John's means that you will only be playing in the same playground with people in your year group. And that's just so that it slows down the spread of any germs. I'll explain that to you when you're in school properly, but that's the only reason. So it's nothing to worry about. It should be much better. Next difference is your classroom might look a bit different. So you're probably used to coming in and sitting in groups, often 4s or 6s. Now the government has said to schools, just to make sure children are okay, could you put them in rows where they're all facing the front? So for most classrooms, you're either in long rows facing the front, or you might be in short rows facing the front. Not the very little children, because the government says that's not suitable for little people. Because if you're 3 and 4, you can't sit in a row facing the front for a whole school day. But if you're old enough to, and that's in our school from year 2 upwards, you'll be sitting in a row. It's fine. The teachers will be teaching the same way. You will still be able to laugh and joke with them. You'll just sit a bit differently, and that's fine. Next difference, PE. We're still going to do PE. Don't panic if you love PE, it's still happening. But it will usually be outside, even if it's raining. I mean, if the weather is terrible, it won't be outside. But if it's just raining a bit, it will. So the rule is this, you're going to like this. You can wear trainers for PE. You can wear trainers for PE, but you must have a PE kit because you're not going to be changing in school. You are going to be changing at home. No PE kits are coming into school. And this is a real change. Lots of schools are doing this. So on your PE day, and we will make sure you know when that is, on your PE day, you'll come to school wearing your PE kit. So make sure you've got one. Talk to your parents about that if you haven't. You'll just need some navy joggers or black, dark joggers. You need some trainers and a pale blue polo shirt. If you get cold, you need a navy blue crew neck sweatshirt. But to start with, the weather will be quite nice, I think. So you'll just need navy blue joggers or leggings and a pale blue t-shirt, polo shirt. Okay, if your mum is worried about that, tell her to ring school. Next thing, going to the toilet. A really important thing. You will not be sent as a whole class to queue up to go to the toilet like we did in the old days. Now we've got a whole different system for going to the toilet. So you will be able to go to the toilet when you need to, not all at the same time. And there will only be one person in the toilet, in the whole of that toilet block at a time. We've got a system all worked out to make sure we can do that so that you're safe, so that you're not too close together and crowded in the toilets. We'll talk about that when you come in. But you might find you're using a different toilet to the one you're used to. Collective worship. We can't have whole school collective worship, not at the moment anyway. So we might have whole school collective worship where me and Mrs. Hedges are talking to you through Microsoft Teams. So we'll be on the whiteboard talking to you and we'll be able to see you, but we won't be able to all go in the hall. And the reason for that is, do you remember me talking about socially distancing? We're trying to make sure that we don't mix up together, so we're in a bubble. So year 1 and year 2 couldn't sit next to each other in the hall because now they're not in a bubble. The idea of a bubble is you're safe inside that little bubble. So year 1 could have an assembly with just year 1, but not with year 2 or with reception or with anybody else. So we may have some year group assemblies, but we can't all go anywhere together at the moment. Okay? There's a one-way system into school. This is going to be the one that really confuses some of you and some of your mums and dads. We can't have people coming in and out of the same gates because they might get too close to each other. And you see this in shops. If you've been shopping, you've probably come across one-way systems. Lots of shops have one way in, one way round, and one way out. And school is going to be the same. So the way in is through the park gate, the main gate that goes into the park, the one that we use for going out to play. So no matter what year group you're in, you will come in through the park gate. And then, depending on what class you're in, you'll go down towards the Stratford Road and then in through the door that you are using. So, if you are in nursery, you will come through the main gate from the park, walk down towards the Stratford Road and in through the nursery gate. If you're in reception, you would come through the main park gate, down towards the Stratford Road and in through the reception doors. If you're in year 1 or 2F with Miss Forrest, you will come through the park gate, down towards the Stratford Road and up into your classroom. If you're in 2B with Mrs. Barter, your classroom has got a door on the other side of school, by the swimming pool. It faces the swimming pool and it's next to the back gate of school. That's where you will come in. So if you're in 2B, you don't need to come through the park gate at all. You'll go to your classroom back door. So that's how children in Key Stage 1 and early years come in. Key Stage 2, if you're in year 3 or year 4, you come through the main park gate and straight in the main doors and up the stairs to your classroom. If you're in year 5 or 6, you come through the park gate, down towards the Stratford Road and up through the year 5 and 6 door. But do you remember me saying that some children start at 8:45 and some start at 8:55? The reason we've done that is because year 3 and 4 use the same door, but year 3 don't come at the same time as year 4. So because you're in a bubble, only year 3 will be going through that door. And then only year 4 will be going through that door. And it's the same with year 5 and year 6. One of the year groups starts at 8:45 and one at 8:55. So although you're using the same door, you're not using it at the same time. And that's why it really matters that you come at the right time. If you've got lots of brothers and sisters, we have decided that you should all come together because we don't want your mum or dad or whoever drops you off to come at 8:45 and then have to wait for 10 minutes until 8:55. Because if they're waiting and other parents are waiting, they will probably end up too close together. So if you've got brothers and sisters who start at a different time to you, all come at the earliest time. So if your big brother starts at 8:45, but you don't start until 8:55, you come into school at 8:45 at the same time as your brother, okay? And you would come through your door, not the same door as your brother, your door. Okay, we're gonna have to just get used to it. Don't worry if you're thinking, oh, I don't know where to go. It won't be hard, and I will be outside, so will Mrs. O'Keefe, so will Mrs. Hedges, so will Mrs. Kirby, and Mrs. Harborne, and Miss Lyne. We'll all be outside to help you to find the right way in. Okay, another difference. Do you know we normally say to you, if you've just got a bit of a sniffle, if you've just got a bit of a cough, come to school anyway. We probably won't say that to you now. If you're not very well, you need to stay at home because we don't want to bring germs into school. So if you're poorly, you need to stay at home. And the other thing, this is really for your mums and dads to hear. If you get poorly at school, we will be calling for your mum or dad, and we need to make sure we've got the right number for them. So can you tell your parents if they've changed their phone, they need to tell us the new number? Because if you are poorly, we're going to take you to a room to look after you so that other people don't catch your germs, and we're going to phone your parents, and we would like them to come and collect you really quickly. I have heard that there's a video going around on social media saying that we won't call parents and that we will send children off to hospital without telling parents. Can you tell your parents? That's not true. If you're poorly, you're going home really quickly. So all we need is the right phone number for you, okay? So if you do wake up and you've got a nasty cough, don't come to school. Just get your parents to phone up and let us know. And the last thing, I think, is the hardest one. It's going home. Home time is always a big squash at St. John's. You'll know if you've been to our school before that outside there's loads of parents, there's loads of children, there's loads of teachers, all squished up together in that little space outside. That's not going to be safe at the moment because we want to keep our distance. So we're going to do home time differently. If you're in year 2, your children will be collected from the back of school. So 2F, that's Miss Forrest's class, will be going out at 3:05 from the back car park gate at school by the swimming pool. And if you're in 2B, you'll be leaving at 3:05 through your classroom door, the one at the back opposite the swimming pool. So year 2 are going to go out at 3:05 from the back of school. Everybody else is going to go either from the playground or their classroom door. So I want to explain this really clearly. If you're in year 1 or reception or nursery, so our youngest children, your parents will collect you from your classroom door, just like normal. The only thing that won't be normal is that they won't be able to get into school early. And I'll explain why in a minute. Everybody else, that's year 3, 4, 5 and 6, will be going down and out of school into the playground. And from the playground is where you will be collected. Now, we will not be opening the gates into school until all of year 3, 4, 5 and 6 are in the playgrounds, lined up, ready. And we're going to ask your mums and dads to wait for you in the park. So there are 4 gates into our playgrounds, and we're going to use those to send you out. And we're going to tell you which gate you're using and ask your parents to stand along the path that's by that gate. And then what will happen is the teacher will look at the parent, and they won't know them to start with because you've got new teachers. So they'll have to say, hello, who have you come to collect? And then your mum or dad or whoever collects you will tell the teacher who they've come for, and we will send you out to them. So you'll get sent through the gate and to your grown-up. And hopefully the grown-ups out there won't stand too close together. And maybe they'll even wear masks. And that's nothing to worry about. So when we open the gates, the parents who are collecting children from nursery or year 1 or reception will come through the park gate and down to their classroom, and we will send you out to your parents. The reason year 2 are finishing early is because some of you have got more than one child. So you'll be able to collect your child from year 2, and then you'll need to walk around the back of school to get to the playgrounds or to get in to year 1 reception or nursery. And we wanted to give you a little bit of time to get around there, especially if you're pushing pushchairs and things. So we've tried to make sure there are paths by all of our exits. There is also going to be a one-way system up the middle of the playgrounds, because if you've got a child in one playground and a different child in another playground, you want to be able to get to them without having to go all the way around the back of the playgrounds. So the one-way system will go in a clockwise direction around that central part of the playgrounds. But We'll all be outside, all of the senior leaders and Mrs. O'Keefe will be outside at home times to show you where to go so that nobody goes the wrong way. But that's my biggest worry about the difference. I'm sure it will be fine. And if it isn't, we might have to change it, but that's what we're going to try and do. Last couple of things. We're asking you to bring a water bottle with you. We used to have school water bottles, if you remember, and I'm a little bit worried about us using those, even though we had them washed. I just think sometimes people picked up the wrong bottle because of course they all look the same, and I'm not sure it's very safe. So we've stashed all those water bottles in the blue room at the moment, and they're taking up the whole room because there's lots of them. But I want you to bring your own water bottle. If you're panicking because you haven't got one and you can't get one, just let me know or let your teacher know and we'll be able to get you one, because we've got loads of them left over and they'll be cleaned and washed and ready. But if you can, bring your own water bottle. Put your name on it, and every day you take it home and get it washed, and every day you bring it back fresh and clean, because then I know that no one else can possibly have given you any of their germs by accidentally drinking from your water bottle. Okay, another thing is I want you all to bring tissues if you can. We're going to have those boxes of tissues, you know, the ones that we have at school, but if you can, bring a little packet or bring a tissue up your sleeve, because if you need to cough or sneeze, we will be asking you to do it into a tissue and then put the tissue in a bin. All of us have got special bins with lids on at school that you work with your foot so that your hands don't have to touch the lid of the bin, because remember, we're trying to keep our hands nice and clean. So you'll sneeze or cough into your tissue, scrunch it up, put it in the lidded bin, and then you'll wash your hands so that any germs that you've just coughed or sneezed are washed away. So if you've got your own tissue, you'll get it faster. If you can't get to a tissue fast enough, because you know sometimes a sneeze just goes out of nowhere, then, do you remember me talking to you about this a long time ago? You sneeze or you cough into your elbow, like that. Because then you haven't just coughed onto your hand. Because if you cough onto your hand and then touch things, you've spread your germs everywhere. So you're going to cough into your elbow or sneeze into your elbow and then go and wash your hands. Okay, that's just a little bit different. The other thing we're asking you to bring is a pencil case, which some of you will be very pleased about, I know, because some of you really love having your own pencil case. My children like having their own pencil cases. We're going to give you a handwriting pen, so you don't need to bring one of those because we're really fussy about what you write in. So we'll give you a special handwriting pen. But you can bring pencils, pencil crayons, your own rubber, your own sharpener in your own pencil case. Please don't bring an absolutely gigantic thing. There's not room for them. But just a normal pencil case. We will be able to give you one if you can't get one. So please don't worry. If you can't get one, we will give you one with things in, with a pen and a pencil and pencil crayons. Hi everybody, so I'm in the hall because I wanted to talk to you about school dinners. I know some of you will be worrying about school dinners because food is very important to us all, especially me, and I've got big news about dinners. We have got a new chef. Richard the chef has left and Rebecca has arrived, and she is fabulous. She's really excited to meet all of you, and she has got some great ideas for delicious lunches, but things will be a bit different. So to start with, we won't all be coming to the hall to eat, and that's because we're sticking in our bubbles. And even if just one year group came in to eat, we would have to completely clean the hall before the next year group came in, and that would take a long time. We've got 7 year groups to feed. So we'd be starting lunch at 10:30 and finishing lunch at about 3 o'clock. And we can't do that because some of you will get really hungry if we do. So we're going to eat to start with in our classrooms. So that means Rebecca's got a bit of a challenge because she doesn't want to just do sandwiches. She thinks that's a bit boring. I agree with her. So she's going to do grab bags. Bags that you grab and you take to your seat. And they're going to be brought to your classroom at lunchtime. And you will have chosen what you want to eat in the morning. It's like being in a restaurant. So in the morning, the teacher will do the register and they'll ask you what you want to eat. And Rebecca and the staff in the kitchen will make that for you, ready for lunchtime. Some of those things will be cold, like sandwiches. Some of them will be warm. So she's thinking of doing all kinds of exciting rolls, maybe pizza. Yes, all sorts of things that you can pick up and hold. I automatically did a sort of burger thing there, I don't know. But finger food, they call it. Things you can just have in front of you and eat with your hands. So all sorts of exciting menus coming your way soon. So you'll be eating in your classroom. If you want to bring a packed lunch, you can. Just like normal. You can bring a packed lunch, but we won't be using the trolleys. No trolleys because too many children all together in one place. So you'll be taking your packed lunch with you to your classroom. And different classrooms have got different places to keep them, but your teacher will tell you that when you arrive. So exciting news for school dinners. Make sure you say hello to Rebecca when she brings your grab bags to your classroom. Okay, see you soon.